Are you a first-time home buyer looking to avoid all the mistakes and pitfalls that typical first home buyers can't foresee? Then take a look. Join me in the next few minutes as we're going to discover the top 13 things that first-time home buyers should avoid. And while you're with me, this is Brian Hymas, Boise Premier Real Estate. I am giving you the best, most fresh content out there on the Boise market so that you can make an informed decision on Boise. Take a minute to subscribe, click that bell afterwards so you get an email or a ping on your desktop or your laptop whenever I put out a new video. I know you're eating this stuff up, and so you'll want to get those emails and alerts as soon as they're on and as soon as they're fresh, so that way you are up to date with what's going on here in Boise. There is no better compliment that I can receive than a phone call or a text or email. Join the dozens of others that are getting to me monthly, less than that weekly, obviously, that are emailing and texting and telling me their plans to move to Boise or their questions they have about moving to Boise. And also, I'm getting dozens and dozens of phone calls each month of people just like you wanting to move to Boise and make this place their home, whether it's the better cost of living, you feel like a political refugee, whatever it might be. Please, please, please don't hesitate to text or call or email. That the information on your screen will let you know where to send those texts or emails, and we will connect and get you up here, maybe tour the town, we'll answer your questions, whatever it might be. We will make your dream of Boise a reality. One of the biggest pitfalls you could make as a first-time home buyer or as a home buyer that is getting a financed loan is taking on new debt. Whether it's that furniture set, it's that new car, do not take on new debt. If you need to, then you need to talk to the lender before you do so. He or she will play with the numbers, and so that you can tell if this is going to affect you getting a home or not. For some people, this has meant signing on your home, buying a new car 2 hours later, and before the loan can close on your home, we've discovered that you actually don't qualify for financing. That is a detrimental mistake. Don't make it. Number 2, be very flexible. Well, to a point with what you're looking for in a home. There is no perfect home. I work with people from a few $100,000 to over $1 million with their home budget, and I'll tell you what, everyone makes sacrifices. It's like buying a car, like, man, if I only had $1,000 more. It's the same thing with home buying. If I only could afford a little bit more, I could move to blank, or I could afford blank. That is something you want to be flexible with. You want to make sure that you are getting a good home. There is not one perfect home, while you can make any home perfect. Trust me, this is a common consent. You have to realize that there are tons and tons of homes around the valley, tons. Even though we're low on inventory, there's still a lot of homes hitting the market. In fact, fun little factoid for you, in 2020 we sold 6% more houses than in 2019. But back to the point. You want to look at all the homes, and we want to eliminate. The name of the game is elimination. One of the best words that I love hearing from buyers is the word no. Do you like this? No. Do you like that neighborhood? No. Do you like that city? No. And so I'm just collecting these no's, because then when I walk into a house where we can collect a bunch of yeses, that is the home, and I get there with a bunch of no's. So realize that this is a funnel. This is a process of elimination where we get down to like, okay, now we know which city, which budget, which style, which year, which builder, which neighborhood, whatever it might be. And so that is the way to find a home, is not even being picky, but eliminating what doesn't work, and then finding those 3 to 5 things that are must-haves. And then if that house has those must-haves, that might be an 85% perfect house, but I'll tell you, 85% is probably the number you're going for. Number 3, you need to use your own agent. I have had a close friend before I was in real estate said, I always go to the listing agent and ask for a discount. Well, that's great. Why not go to your buyer's agent and say, if that's your only goal is a discount, then ask them for a discount on the sale of your home or something. What's going to happen if you're not careful is the agent is actually going to work with the seller as they had already signed a contract with them and give them full confidentiality, and they will advocate for them. And then when they work with you, they will actually only work with you as kind of an information giver. And so that kind of puts you on your own. And if you ever have to negotiate, that realtor is not going to be working for you, just providing information. You'll wonder why you're getting shortchanged. and there goes your money anyway. Number 4, we're going to talk about getting pre-approved before looking at houses. So I actually attack this differently than most realtors and agents out there. A lot of realtors will say, oh, you have to get pre-approved first and look at homes. I don't have to have a pre-approval done. If we have some sort of conversation with the lender to get the ball rolling, it lets us know we're kind of in the right range by giving verbals. Before we put an offer down, we'll be pre-approved. A pre-approval and pre-qual is a difference for you of the lender has officially looked at things. And so all we want to do is quickly check off that box and move on to the next step. And it's not the first thing we want to do. We actually, when I work with buyers, what we'll do is chat. We'll have a Zoom call over the computer and we'll go over Boise's areas, some of the homes. We'll talk about what you must have, what you must not have, what you understand about the area. And I don't want to talk to a lender before that because we don't want to squash any dreams that we have of Boise. And so we kind of talk about that. We talk about our dreams, talk about what you think you can afford, and then we talk to the lender after that. Number 5, don't rely on Zillow's Zestimate. The CEO of Zillow sold his home and it sold for 40% less than the Zestimate. Go figure, it's software. It's an algorithm. It doesn't know if you have a view, if you've remodeled, if you haven't, if it's horrible inside, if it's great inside. They know square footage, they know bedroom count, they know what your neighbors are kind of selling for. In Idaho, we don't have to tell Zillow that stuff. In other states, they do, so it's actually more accurate in other states. But it's never even 100% accurate there. So it's still a software program. So don't rely on Zillow's Zestimate. Number 6, if you get intrepidation from saying $500,000 or $1.5 million or $1 million, but you can afford the monthly payment that's broken down into, and you have no nervousness about that price, remember, it's about the monthly. If you lost a job, could you afford a $1.5 million house if your wife was an OBGYN? Sure. If you put down $1.3 million on a $1.5 million house, don't worry that the house is a $1.5 million house. Worry about what you can afford. And that's a decision you have to make and you have to look at your own. But first-time home buyers, we're looking more like the $300,000 to $500,000 to $700,000 price range, and so somewhere in there you have to just decide if that monthly payment is going to work for you. Number 7, trying to time the market. There is not one single person on this planet that knows what tomorrow's market is going to bring. We know today's market and today's market only. I tell you, I run into people all the time who get paralysis by analysis. They're trying to analyze every detail about the timing or every detail about the location, every detail about this, that, or the other. And guess what? What happens is the market goes somewhere while they're busy doing that stuff. So if you can act, and I'm not just saying that as a salesman trying to get you to spend money so I can collect a paycheck. I am dead serious. You need to do your homework, know what you want, be happy, like I mentioned already, with a good home, 85% or better. And then when you're ready to act, you'll be able to act with what the market that we're working in. So do your homework. Don't try to time the market. Don't be an expert where you're not, and move forward. Don't go at this alone. You want to have somebody in your corner. A lot of first-time home buyers will actually consult parents because they're newly married or they're single and they have that support system still. That's perfectly fine. Knowing that first-time home buyers actually can take longer to find their first home. It's a whole new process they've never even thought about. Maybe you've never even thought about. If you want to live in West Eagle or East Eagle or North Meridian or South Meridian or Boise or Caldwell or Middleton, you haven't really thought about it. You're kind of fine wherever. And so there's some people who are fine wherever. There's some people who are pretty specific. Just know that your time frame, and you might have to be patient with yourself because what you want might not be immediately available. You might take 6 months, 12 months to find a house. You might not need to have a house right away. And so you can afford to be patient, but again, when that right house comes up, you'll want to act. Don't use the shady online lenders. Please, 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 please. They can get you a pre-qualification letter over the internet, which is so fantastic, but when things go awry, you need someone that will pick up the phone. I can't tell you how many loans and home deals we've had hinge on how responsive a lender is. When you've got 30 minutes for something to happen and you've got to have a conversation with the lender, then the buyer, then the seller's agent, and you got to get back to the lender. You've got to rework numbers. Whatever it might be, you need someone who's responsive. The deal will not close if you don't have the right lender. The lender is super important. Do not use shady online lenders. In fact, please just do me a favor. Don't use online lenders at all, and just ask me who I recommend. Number 10, simple. Do not ignore the neighborhood you're in. And when you're talking resale, and you have to sell your home in 2 to 7 to 10 years, which you will. This will not be a forever home. You need to pay attention to what neighborhood you're in. If the prices are low to get into it, the prices will be low to sell it. If you back up to a road, now you'll back up to a road later. If you have a field behind your house now, you might have some homes there later, or a Costco there later, or who knows what's there later. But do not ignore the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. Do not. Number 11, don't assume you need 20% down. I repeat, don't assume you need 20% down. When I got into my first home, I had 2 loans on the home. I had a loan on the first 95% and a loan on the second 5%. I got into my house with like a $500 check, and I didn't have much more. And for that circumstance in my life, it worked. That's not always the case. If you're FHA, if you're a vet, vets get in for 0%. If you're FHA, 3.5%, might be 5% down, might be 10, might be 0. There are programs, a lot of programs, especially for first-time home buyers, for rural areas, all sorts of things that can help you get into a home for less than 20%. Hardly anyone puts 20% down. Number 12, don't be emotional about the small ticky-tack things. Paint color can change, carpet can change, light cover fixtures can change. There's so many things that can change. Don't get fixated on the wrong thing. I've seen it too many times, and a simple question to ask yourself is, can it be fixed? With what effort? Who's doing it? Do you want to pay for it? Do you want to do it yourself? These things can be fixed. And last, not least, is something that's come to my radar in the last couple weeks with a continuing education class, and that is do not skip the home inspection. In today's market, a lot of home buyers are actually waiving the home inspection and not doing one. I 100% recommend doing one. If you want to provide power in your offer, what you can still do is do a home inspection, but just put on the offer for informational purposes only. What that does is allows you to know what's wrong with the home, and you know what you're walking into. Most homes, if you do a quick check when you're walking the home, they'll be fine. Check the HVAC, check leaks, check rust, check under sinks, check roofs, check things like that. If you see if it kind of checks out and it feels good, you know, it's not a guarantee, but that might help you be more prepared for what you're getting into. And if it feels good, you move forward. At least you know what you're getting into after the home inspection's done. And then I always recommend that to sellers and buyers both. It helps the exchange of that property be a smooth transition process in the current moment and also in the future to avoid litigation. So I recommend a home inspection every single time for buyer and seller. It just depends if you're going to make that home inspection for informational purposes only, or if you're actually going to do a full-on home inspection in terms of the real estate contract where you have the ability to get out of the contract if you don't like what you see. If you like what you've heard, keep watching my videos. In order to see those videos right when they hit out, you're going to want to tap that subscribe button, then hit that bell so that you're notified every time a new video comes out. Again, I'm Brian Hymas, real estate agent for the last 4 years, sold and bought dozens and dozens of homes. Before that, I was an appraiser. I was born and raised here in Boise. I'd be happy to help you. In fact, dozens and dozens of people are reaching out to me each month, and there's no better compliment I receive than those people calling, texting, or emailing me at the number on your screen, asking that I can help them get to Boise, whether it's because you're a political refugee, because you're a first-time home buyer, because you think Boise sounds cool, because you love our blue turf, because your friend's uncle's cat, mom's, grandma's did, whatever it might be. We are going to be happy to have you, and I'd be happy to help you. There is no better compliment that I receive than from people like you that it is all paid out of the seller's price that the commissions are paid off of. I'm the Pied Piper, look at me. Now, did you know the CEO of Zillow sold? Now, did you know this? Now, did you know this? Finances for? But first home buyer. What you can do is actually do a home inspection for informational purposes. What you can actually do is do a home inspection for home 800 number that you can call if you need to get a hold of somebody, or